you must show the bank that you've got a good savings record.
And I think you've got to start out small.
Yeah,
You can't have too, look,
you don't want a huge mortgage. That will pay off.
Yes.
If you make those sacrifices,
Yeah.
you'll be comfortable later on in life. There's
And
no
don't
point.
be miserable. That's the other thing. You don't be miserable. Be kind to people.
Yeah.
Hi guys, welcome back. So just a quick one. I'm going to share a video with you guys now. And trust me, you're going to learn one or two things from the video. So it happened that early this year, I got invited by an amazing family for lunch. And I so much like this family because they are elderly but keen on seeing young people succeed in life. After eating, we had a great chat. They were kind enough to let me record our chat so that I can share with you guys. So I give it up to them. The high point of our discussion was that they advised me on how to start up a business, how to successfully grow the business. When I mean how to start up a business, I mean how to start the business up from nothing, and then how to grow the business and be successful in it. So guys, I'm going to leave you with the video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Also do well to share and leave your comments. If you ask me any question in the comment section, I will be more than happy to answer your questions. Please subscribe to my channel. It helps us to grow. See you guys later. Peace out.
That was back in 1980. I went to school with Mary's cousin.
Okay.
His name was Michael. And we went to O'Connor Catholic High School. And I met Mary through Mary's cousin Michael, who was a friend of mine at school. And Mary and I met each other and fell in love, didn't we?
Yeah.
And and we wanted the same things, you know, in life.
Okay.
We had similar backgrounds right from the word go. I mean, it's never premeditated, but that's just the way it worked out, I suppose.
Yeah.
We had similar values because we came from similar backgrounds.
Yeah.
And we wanted, right from the word go, I suppose, we realised we had similar goals,
Similar dreams.
and we sort of started to really work towards them.
When we met each other, and our dreams and aspirations were the same, and we wanted our own place. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Yep. And as soon as we realised that we wanted to stay together and be together, we wanted to save up for our own place. Yeah.
Realistically though, for us, all the same, it was never going to be our major source of income, was it?
No, because we never had enough money to buy a big property that would enable me to stop working full time. So most of the big properties where people make a big living of it, they're handed down from generation to generation. So that's why, goodness, it's very hard for people to get a foot in the door with agriculture. When we found out the place we wanted to buy, goodness, we decided that we could save one wage and live off the other. So we did that for quite some time.
I think that I'm just looking at, we met in 1980 and we bought this place in 1984. So we'd saved one wage for 4 years.
4 years.
Yeah, and that
was the
enabled us.
deposit.
Yeah, that gave us a really good deposit to go to the bank and say, this is our savings record.
Okay. Yeah.
And the bank said, yes, you're young, you're working hard, you've got a good savings record, we will lend you the money to buy that property, to buy this property. And so
But we lived in cheap rent. We didn't spend a lot of money on rent. We had to rent a house, and we continued to rent. Ran cheap on this place to start with.
Okay, so this place that we are now, right?
This place, we had,
because some people believe that you have to be very rich, you know, have a lot of money for you to go into farming, right? So what you are telling us is that one could really start small by saving, but you have to like deprive yourself of a lot of things.
Without a doubt.
we weren't going out to restaurants, goodness.
You were eating at home.
We were eating at home.
You were not traveling, like
We weren't traveling.
holidays and the rest.
We weren't buying TVs. We didn't have phones back then anyway, but we had to be very, very frugal in what we spent. So once we got our property, that enabled us to put some stock here, some sheep.
Yeah, and then we had a mortgage like everyone else and had to pay back the bank. But we had a few good years with wool.
Super fine.
Super fine wool.
We had a breed of sheep called Merinos, and we had super fine wool. And at that time in the 80s, there was very good money in wool. Very good.
This was like 84, right? 84.
I think it was a bit longer, 86,
87.
Like towards the late 80s.
Yes, the late 80s,
90s.
middle to late 80s.
Yes, and so it continued to do quite well. And then we actually bought another property that I actually mentioned that in the little thing that I gave you. We bought another property, and
we were running
had
sheep on that
as well.
So was it from the sheep that you were getting money to pay back the mortgage?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right. We were using the
and we
money
still had
made.
jobs. We still had jobs. Still worked in jobs, and our first child was born in 1989.
And at that same time, the wool industry collapsed in Australia.
Well, it was I suppose you could say it was propped up by what they call the floor price.
So the industry collapsed.
Yes, it was then.
A lot of people lost their properties because they've gone into very big loans with the bank.
So at that time, have you guys finished paying the loan back, or you guys were still paying the loan?
No, we had paid our loan off by then.
So how long did it take for you to like pay the loan back? Because
that was 1989. We paid our loan off probably within 5 or 6 years. And we had bought another place. And we were still paying for it. That was Boundary Gully. And I'm just trying to think about when we probably paid for that within a couple of years. But wool had been very good. Wool had been very good.
So that means from the wool, from the proceeds you get from wool, you were able to use it to clear up the loan that you used in buying that property. And you were able to get another property still from the proceeds of the wool, right?
But we're still living on one wage, and we're still putting one wage into our mortgage, plus any money that we'd make out of our wool.
From the wool,
And that has been nearly always been our the way we've managed.
Up to now, or for how long were you guys able to manage like that? So that people would know, you know, when people are watching and they are like, how long would I have to manage like that, you know?
Probably up until the children were born.
Or even after. If the second wage wasn't going towards the mortgage, the second wage, we had a couple of years after wool collapsed that we were using our second wage to build a share portfolio. And we use the additional wage. We always just probably, you know, in a very loose term, I would say that we've always tried to live on one wage and use the other wage either to pay a mortgage or to build shares or to do something
Yeah.
that will build an asset.
Yeah, just like an investment. That means you invest the second wage,
Yes.
and then you live on the first wage.
Yeah, that's the way we've done it.
But we did borrow money to buy this share portfolio. So we borrowed money, and that didn't go that well. Goodness, it did for for 3 or 4 or 5 years. It went well, and then the GFC hit.
The collapse.
And then
the global financial crisis, right?
Yeah,
That's
so the share
GFC.
portfolio, it plummeted by 50%.
Okay, so that was in the 80s or 90s?
No. This was in we're moving into the 2000s now.
Okay,
2005 maybe, before we started, or
we probably started in earlier, right at the beginning of the 2000s. And the global financial crisis hit in 2009. And we we were concerned that it might even the shares might drop even further. So, there was a bit of to give it in a nutshell, we decided to get out of the shares.
They did pick up. They did pick up by 30%.
Yes.
And
that's when we opted out.
That's when we got out and we sold, and we thought we wanted to do something different. So that's when we bought the house in Donnelly Street, wasn't it?
We bought a house.
So we bought a house in Donnelly Street.
From what proceed?
Well, from the share portfolio.
From the share portfolio.
I mean, we still had money.
But that was money that was borrowed from the bank. Still, that we used to buy that house. And then we used the rent off that house. For the next 10 years, we used the rent off that house to help pay for that house.
Many people do that.
Plus, and in addition to that, we've now got this place up and running, and we've got stock on here, we've got cattle on here.
On this property, right?
Yes, this is all happening concurrently with those other things that are going on over the years. Like, we were only ever out of stock for a couple of years.
So we went into cattle,
So in the 90s, we got back into, say, cattle, and the proceeds from the cattle, the annual sale of weaners, we would use the money from that to pay down our loans. Always paying down our loans. Any money that we ever had, extra money we would put it onto our mortgage, which meant that gave us access to what you call a redraw facility. For whenever we might have needed to buy stock or invest in something else. And so we had the house that we had tenants in, and we paid that off, and we only sold that last year.
So that's what you can do in Australia. Goodness, if you work hard, get your deposit, go to the bank, borrow some money, buy some real estate, pay that off as quick as you can. And then once you get your next asset, that next asset, whether it's a rental income, you can pay that next asset off faster.
It gets faster.
Faster. So once you own the next one, the next one you can pay off even quicker. So it's
But in all of this time too, that we've just had a fairly simple lifestyle.
That is also very important, right?
Our lifestyle has not been lavish. We've been able to educate our kids and give them, the best that we could for them. But our lifestyle, even with our children, was never. It was camping holidays, bushwalking, picnics,
horse riding.
We had the horses and horse riding, and just mainly things at home. The kids had a network of cousins and family support that was very, very important to us.
But we certainly didn't have a lavish lifestyle, not at all.
And the overseas trips that we're talking about, they didn't come until much, much later.
So after the kids grew up, right? That was when you started traveling.
Much later.
That means most of the money that you guys would have spent like traveling and spending, and you guys use those ones in investing.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah, and then after investing for a while, and then your kids were grown up, then yes, you had the time to travel overseas and,
Yes.
and then enjoy your life more than as
There's
than,
more.
yeah.
We have more expendable income now than what we did when we were younger and when our kids were growing up. But still, we still try to be really, really careful. And on properties, overheads are high.
Yeah,
You know, they really are. They really are high. So
Yeah.
we're just
so
a work in progress. And
major challenges, I think, in Australia with farming and are, of course, the climate.
yeah.
Goodness. It can get very dry. Like we had a drought
3 years ago.
3 years ago that was very, very.
No, bad.
Bad.
It just did not rain for, must have been nearly close to 18 months.
Yeah, and we had to sell at least half of our stock.
We sold half the cows.
And kept the others going, and
But it was expensive to feed
So
them.
you sold like half of the cows then, right? Before you sold half, before the drought and everything that you sold half, was it very profitable?
I think for us, there's always been, I wouldn't say extremely profitable, no, because the overheads are really high. Like I was saying to you before, Goodness, I think one of the things that we've used to our advantage is the fact that we're in jobs.
And a lot of other people do this, Goodness. So a lot of professional people will have farms like this. They can offset their tax
So we pay
to
tax.
improve the property.
So we're paying, you've got to earn at least $20,000 a year off your property. You've got to sell $20,000 worth of stock
To become primary
producer.
Yeah.
So David and I, we're just on wages. We're not on massive wages by any means. But the income tax that we pay as part of our wages, that will mean that, say, if we have expenses, this is the way our tax system works. We have expenses. We've got thousands of dollars of expenses every year. For drench, we've got feed in the shed. We've got hay. We've got fences. We've got if you get contractors in to do your spraying, adds up to thousands of dollars.
You've got to put dams in, water supply.
Water supply.
So you need to get a bulldozer in.
Yeah, there's a lot of expenses associated with it. But I might be paying $30,000 in expenses a year. But say between David and I, we might have paid $25,000 in tax. Well, they offset one against the other. And that means that we get fairly hefty, a fairly hefty income tax return. That enables us to then go and use that money to put a shed up, to put a dam in, to do the various improvements around the place.
You've got the basics of how we got ahead. You know, we saved that deposit.
You saved it.
And once we got our asset, our farm, and paid that off, we could use that to go to the bank and get more money for the next one. So you can, you can keep on doing that to build your portfolio. You know, if you want to get into a particular type of farming or agriculture, go and seek advice. You know, learn as much as you can. But be smart with your money first. You know, work hard and save. Show the bank that you've got a good saving record.
That is the starting point.
That is the first
thing.
First thing. Goodness, you must show the bank that you've got a good savings record.
And I think you've got to start out small. You can't have too
you don't want a huge mortgage. Like you want to start off small and work your way into it. for the people out there that want to know, so what you do is you go to the bank and you open up a bank account.
Okay.
So once you open up your account and you've got your job and you're putting money into that bank every fortnight usually, because Australia gets paid fortnightly mostly. So add to that savings record every fortnight and show the bank that you've got a good savings record.
Yeah,
So you must have that good savings record. And then once you show the bank that you're a very good customer.
For how long? Like 6 month minimum, right?
I'd say 12 months minimum.
Well, to be before you could borrow money.
Yeah.
I think they'd want to see a track record of good savings.
Maybe
for quite
6
a
to
few
1
years.
year,
Oh, quite a few years. You're not going, and it would depend on what your income is and your capacity to pay it back. That's what they look at. It's your ability to be able to make the repayments. And then my advice is, you know, some people will think differently to this, but we're only ever been small operators, so I think the best thing to do is not only pay your monthly mortgage, but pay what more money than that. Any money you make off the farm, pay your loan down. Pay your loan down because the more you pay onto it, the less interest you're paying. When we bought the place up here that we call Rommel Hill, we bought that, say, nearly 10 years ago, or however many years it was. When we first bought that, we borrowed the money for that. We had the deposit, but we borrowed that money on what was called a fixed interest rate. The fixed interest rate at that stage was a 5-year. You could borrow at 4% over a 5-year period. And that interest only, I should say, interest only. We didn't pay the principal. We weren't paying because we were still paying the house off in town. But we thought that we'd get in and we'd buy it while we thought we were getting a good price, and we could use it to be earning money, making money off the cattle. So we were doing that, but we were only ever servicing the loan by paying the interest. That gave us the capacity to be able to pay off the house. Inflation's high, interest rates have gone up. So there's a few things there that it's okay for us to say, you know, I know that it's really hard for young people, but it's the sacrifices. It's like the things that we do that, you know, we have the odd coffee, we don't go out very much, but it's the things that people just take for granted, like going, you know, takeaway food, going for dinner, meeting their friends and going to the movies.
Got to have the newest iPhone, you know, the big flat screen
those things cost money.
You know, goodness, I personally think that anyone can do this. But you've got to have a certain drive, you know, you've got to be, what's the word now? You've got to be motivated and
passionate about what you do.
Yes, motivation.
And like sometimes...
but it takes, you know, it takes commitment.
And it's not our only focus, though. I don't want you to think that we're driven solely by economics.
No.
We're not. I have a lifestyle. I go for a swim each morning. David rides his horse. We love our children. We've had a beautiful lifestyle.
Isn't the idea in life to want to be comfortable in your later years? So if you want to be comfortable, you've got to make those sacrifices early on when you're young. And that will pay off. If you make those sacrifices, you'll be comfortable later on in life.
And that's been our focus in more recent years, is the saving for our retirement, really.
But I think the high point of it is that we just try and save money, and then we use that money, then we invest that money,
that's exactly
and then we cut down on unnecessary spending. We still live our life. It's not that we're going to live a type of boring life, just lock yourself in somewhere
Not at all.
because you have an aim, right? You live your life, but just cut down on those unnecessary stuff.
And also try to teach the kids the value of it as well. Because honestly, money doesn't make anyone it's only stuff. I mean, look, everyone wants to be comfortable, and you need a certain amount of money to be able to live.
Yeah.
You know, we've been given the opportunity. We have been given opportunities, and look, you know, I know people have bad luck. You know, we've had bad luck,
but you get back on your horse.
Yeah,
you know, you get back
Yeah.
on your horse and you keep trying.
Yeah.
So, no one's going to get through this life without ever have something happen to them. Something will happen. You know, that will not be pleasant. You know, whether it's financial or you know, someone close to you passes away, whatever. You know, but
we've tried anyway.
But you keep trying. You know. And Australia is a lucky country. There's no doubt about it. You know, there's opportunities here.
I think so.
That is in Australia, there are a lot of opportunities that abound. It just depends on how you maximize those opportunities. They are there, you have to make good use of them.
Look, I'd say, like I always say to my kids, look, keep your eye on the prize. Keep your eye on the prize and make good in your life with the simple things. The simple things are going to bring you a lot of joy. It doesn't need to be the big ticket items and the big bang items that
and you know, it's children is the best time of your life, isn't it?
Kids,
when you have the children, you know, the kids.
It's fun.
It's fun.
Sometimes it's financially, it's a struggle. But you know, make your fun with your kids. Make your fun with your kids in outdoor activities. And you know, have an outdoor lifestyle and have fun with your kids that way. Don't think that you've got to indulge them in stuff, toys and that sort of stuff. Go camping, go fishing, go out into the country, national parks. All of that stuff is free. And you know,
get a little dog for them. Take it to the park.
That's the sort of life. Aim for a life that's going to bring you happiness. Not consumerism. That's what I would say.
That's very good. Thank you very much. For me, what I've learned from you is that you start by saving. You can't do anything without having money, right? You need to have some money.
You do.
And then you need to show some track record of yourself that you are financially stable, right? So you have to start by saving money. You just get a job, get something doing, save some money, and then when you save some money for a while, you could use that, you could invest that money, and then you use that as a starting point. And then any investment that you would want to invest into, you should get advice from someone. And then the second point is that live a good life. Don't live an extravagant life. Just live a good life, you know.
A good, healthy life.
Good, healthy life, you know. Raise your kids, go out, don't lock them in the house and say that because you don't want to spend money, then yes, we're going to lock ourselves in the house. We're not going to spend money. So, so go out. You could go for camping, go for fishing, do whatever you want to do, travel, but don't just be extravagant in what you're doing. Until you are like very comfortable, then you're still not going to be extravagant, even if you are comfortable. You know,
you won't be extravagant because that's not how you got there. You will keep. There is no
don't
point.
be miserable. That's the other thing. You don't be miserable. Be kind to people. Open your heart and your home and your, you know, and all that sort of stuff.
That is very good. Thanks so much. I've learned a lot from you and